Today I'm going to talk about a commentary channel that a lot of people like. That's fine, I used to really like him as well, until I realized that his videos are just really dog shit. Like, just absolutely terrible. Meet ImAllexx, the YouTube commentary channel with almost 300,000 subscribers, who over the past year or so has really moved up in the ranks of YouTube and has now become one of the most respected people in the commentary community, being friends with the rest of my favorite commentators like Wild Spartans and Will NE. Name a more iconic trio of people who make just fantastic videos. But hey, I'm not here to criticize Alex's friends. I mean, you all saw the video title. This is about our main man, the skinny goblin himself. Now, I have actually been watching his content for quite a while. I found his channel like many people did when Pyrocynical gave him a shout out in late 2016 on his channel, which really got the ball rolling for him. And as everyone who gets shouted out by Pyro, he started rapidly growing. The ImAllexx snowball grew and grew until he passed some of his peers and became one of the most respected people in the community, with the majority of people really liking his videos and holding him in high regard. And I even consider him probably the third most respected in the community, other than Pyro and Colossal is Crazy. Respect which I feel, at least, is undeserved. At first, when I was watching his videos, it was exciting. I had never seen anything like the content he was making, and it was refreshing. Seeing that little Patreon card come on at the end of each video made me feel sort of like a part of something. Seeing a small channel grow and essentially explode in popularity, seeing all of these people supporting him, it felt good. Great even. But soon I grew to resent his content, and just 6 months after I started watching him, I started to just despise it completely, and now I just cannot stand watching even a few minutes of one of his videos, for multiple reasons which I will explain today. Obviously, I do not hate Alex, or him as a person anyway. If I'm being honest, he actually seems like a pretty nice guy. He's very sociable and fun to be around when he live streams. His charity live stream where he raised a few $1,000s for charity is obviously a noble thing to do, and I was even in a Discord call with him once while streaming. And to me, he seemed like a perfectly nice guy. I know people like the best YouTuber in the world, Kavos, have criticized him in the past for the whole Zaptai situation, but frankly, I don't know enough about it. It's such old news, and chances are there was a lot going on behind the scenes that you or I don't know about, so I'm not going to critique him for that in any way. I do not hate him as a person. In fact, he's done a lot of good for the rest of the commentary community. But for me, the way he creates content is lazy, uncreative, boring, poorly researched, annoyingly self-righteous, and at times even hypocritical. So without further ado, let's get into why Alex is one of the worst members of the popular YouTube commentary community. When running a commentary channel like Alex's, which posts nearly every other day, it can be hard to do an adequate amount of research for your videos and get all of the facts right. And while this is understandable to an extent, I cannot respect creators who are consistently inaccurate and have poorly researched videos on a regular basis. While people like Wild Spartans, Elvis the Alien, and various other commentary channels have been very inaccurate in the past, I have found that in recent times Alex has exemplified this the most in a variety of videos he has rushed out, recording at 3 AM in the morning so he can get the maximum views instead of, I don't know, waiting until there's enough relevant information to actually make an entertaining and informative video. Introducing our main exhibit for this point, Philip DeFranco's Patreon scam. In the video, Alex explains why he believes YouTubers like Kavos and Keemstar are incorrect about the situation and have done no research, which I fucking love, because in the process, Alex did no actual research himself and just made up random shit on the spot to try and make himself look good. Keep in mind, I am not a fan of Keemstar or Kavos. I have made a very negative video on Kavos on my channel in the past and why I really dislike his videos, and I have also had some very negative interactions with Keemstar. And I'll admit that a decent amount of what Kavos said in his own video was factually incorrect, but that doesn't mean that when Alex screws up, I'm not going to call him out on his bullshit. And this video is filled to the brim. It's just bursting with bullshit. So let's take a look at Alex's gallery of lies and speculation.
The hundreds of people that Philip DeFranco had as staff who were running SourceFed and the Philip DeFranco show ultimately all lost their jobs. As well as this, that means he had to move office space because he could no longer afford to rent the one that he was using in LA, and due to this, he basically nearly lost his entire show.
You know nothing about the inner workings of SourceFed, so you cannot speculate that Phil had hundreds of employees, especially when SourceFed was given at most a 14th of the small portion of $100 million that YouTube was putting towards their original channel initiative, when it was being started to fund other channels to become YouTube successes. I highly doubt that he had hundreds of employees at any time working on his shows, which averaged maybe 1 or 2 million views, equating to perhaps $1,500 in ad revenue. You cannot speculate or make assumptions on this, Alex, especially when that was one of your main points against others.
Philip DeFranco sees his Patreon as a subscription service and not a donation platform, which Patreon tends to have it seen as. In the same way that you pay $5 for a movie, you don't necessarily need to see how much money that movie has made.
Alex, you cannot make that distinction because you do not have to pay to see Phil's content. I don't pay anything to his Patreon and I get it anyway. So it is really more of a donation service because you don't have to pay to see it. The content is available to everyone, you have the option to donate. And you also cannot use that movie's comparison because you can see the amount of money that a movie has made. It is all public information right after opening weekend. This is a false equivalent, and it's a shame that no one can get that through your thick fucking skull.
It would be like me going into your workplace, let's say McDonald's, taking a hamburger out from behind the counter and going, I already know that you've grossed multiple billions this year. That's my fucking Big Mac.
Nope, this is also a false equivalent because you do not have to pay to see the Philly D show. You do have to pay to get a Big Mac, so you cannot criticize people who don't pay for something that is free.
And it is absolutely brilliant, by the way, because I don't know how somebody could do this little research or just completely gloss over facts to the point where they're literally making it up on the spot.
Hey Alex, isn't that the exact same thing you are doing in this entire spasticated video? I mean, my god! It's almost as if he's telling his audience that he is doing the exact same thing that he's criticizing others for. It's like an admittance of guilt. You do not know any of the information you have spewed out of your butthole in this entire video. So claiming that you are and that others aren't is not okay, especially when it is widely known that you and Kavos have had a feud going on for a while and you have a certain distaste for him and Keem. And like I said before, I don't even agree with Kavos or Keem or anyone saying that Philly D is scamming his fans. To me, he appears to be a pretty honest guy who wouldn't lie to his fans like that. But I am also not claiming to be correct about something and virtue signal the shit out of my own fans and claim that I'm doing any better than Kavos is with research when I have done none myself. Frankly, the lack of research that Alex has put into this video is infuriating, and I have a feeling that he knows it, as he has taken down videos in the past for being poorly researched. However, this video also got 800,000 views, which has a potential to earn him $1,000. And notice how I say potential, because I do not know how much money he made. And do you know what the absolute best part of this is? The absolute golden egg that I can pull out of this anorexic chicken's rump? I just love it. It's just awesome. I mean, you cannot make this shit up. A few days before Alex was going to make the video about the situation, he started a Twitter thread where he was discussing the scenario, and Colossal is Crazy began challenging him on his beliefs, and not actually knowing anything about the situation. Here, Alex admits that he was making assumptions, but what does he do? Does he, I don't know, not make the video, or at least not make assumptions in it? Well, as we have already established, no, he made this steaming pile of freshly shat shit anyway. He literally does not care or have any interest in doing research, so when someone he respects comes around and points out his bullshit, he just bends over and takes it with spread cheeks, and then hopes that they'll turn a blind eye and does it anyway. Really shows how much he cares about making good videos, meaning he doesn't care at all. ImAllexx has a very bad habit of using exaggerations or misinterpretations to take the moral high ground. Take a look at the end of his Zoella video, where he takes a very populist stance against the YouTuber elite.
Oh yeah, that's fine, Zoella. I know you've apologised for the advent calendar, but what about Hello World? What about those tweets where you kept on saying that people who can't afford certain stuff are literal tramps?
Hello World was a mess, but ImAllexx is attacking Zoella with little to no evidence for her participation in the organization of the event, other than basic promotion, which all of the YouTubers took part in. Apart from the aside remark from another YouTuber that certain names had stakes in it, which was never confirmed as Zoella anyway. She had no obligation to apologize for that. The most people can complain about, really, is that she was only up on stage for a minute or so, but she was never scheduled to go on stage and is known from suffering from anxiety and panic attacks, so this just seems seems very pathetic, especially as it did appear that she participated in the event in spite of its flaws. Also, anyone with half a brain can see that the tramp comment is an exaggeration. She never said that people who couldn't afford a designer dress were literal tramps. Nice misuse of the word literal there. It was clearly a facetious remark, and Alex discarding the dual meaning of tramp, which can also be a disparaging word for another female, either makes him stupid or intentionally misleading. Not to mention that she also did apologize for it.
Now maybe I'm being harsh because these tweets are old, but the behaviour still continues. Zoella fans keep on saying, oh, but she's different. These are old tweets. She was still well off then. She still scams her fans now.
Zoella started her YouTube career in 2009 while she was working a day job at a retail store when she made the tweet that Alex references, which, by the way, was probably a reference to her retail job. She had at least less than 4,000 subscribers and was still working that retail job. Her tweet was probably more of a reference to customer relations rather than class disgust, and it's clear she wasn't making any real income. Unless Alex had insight into her private life or background, then he has no valid reasoning to say that she was well off. He has twisted her comments on purpose to make her seem like an evil YouTube overlord, so he can rally against her and all the other YouTube vloggers alike. But all it would have taken is a few minutes of Google searching to get a greater understanding of the context. All you have to do, literally, is watch her Draw My Life video. This means that he was either unintentionally ignorant to the context, or intentionally chose this and twisted her words to suit his speech. These lies, or misconceptions, however you want to call them, are important because they serve as the opening for the ImAllexx proud speech against the evil British vlogger community, in which he goes after them for fan exploitation, which, once you look beyond the basic context, only comes down to the calendar, which was poor value. But it was never exceptional. Even if it had cost her absolutely nothing to make that calendar, which it didn't, £50 is rather unremarkable in the merch industry. So what do we have here? Alex being hypocritical and clearly being aware of it, and him manipulating what people say to make them look worse. Wow, doesn't exactly look good for someone who praises himself constantly, determining for the rest of YouTube what's okay to do, and what's a big no-no in Alex's book. So far, we have that he lies and has poor research. Let's see what else our commentary golden boy has up his internet sensation sweatshirt sleeve. One of the things you may have noticed about Alex's videos is that he has a very odd moral standpoint. Oftentimes he will parade around on this high horse, acting as if he is better than anyone else on the YouTube platform, preaching of morality and actions by YouTubers as if he is some kind of god. Oh yes, Father Alex over here telling us what's right and what's wrong, drawing the line between what is okay and what is not. He regularly preaches to us about menial things like what? Zoella making an advent calendar that's overpriced? For anyone who isn't already aware, Zoella created an advent calendar that was $50. At most, if you bought all of the items in the advent calendar separately, it would be around $100, evident by this tweet in which someone fact-checked all of this. Yeah, that's definitely overpriced, which means that the $27 you pay for is branding, to get that Zoella seal of approval. Wow, Alex, what a crime. What a complete fucking crime. Making a product that costs more than its normal value to make money? My god, whoever came up with such a malicious concept to do something like that? Not like literally every company on the face of the earth has done that repeatedly since the beginning of time. Even people you like. For example, H3H3 have made overpriced merch in the past and are currently selling it on their website. Huh, $45 for a plain black hoodie with some ink on the back. Seems a bit expensive for something that usually costs around $15 to make. Speaking of merch, let's take a look at Alex's merch store. $40 for a hoodie that costs less than half of that to make. And what's this? A t-shirt with an even lower average manufacturing price of about $5 total. Just to check, I went on a custom merch making site where you can buy a t-shirt, any color, and any design for just $3.58, which means that the reason you would pay for Alex's merch is that there is his design on it, the official printed amazing design, so you can tell all of your friends how you're part of the internet sensation army. Wow, seems a bit hypocritical, right? You go out and preach to everyone about how selling these super expensive things to your fans is so bad. But no, I get it, you're saying that she's scamming people and taking advantage of her fans without any actual proof of this. Wow, seems a bit hypocritical, right? You go go out and preach to everyone about how selling these super expensive things to your fans is so bad. But no, I get it, you're saying that she's scamming people and taking advantage of her fans without any actual proof of this. And so by the same standard, I could say that you're doing the same exact shit. You promote your merch at the end of every video and your end card. I mean, if you've ever been in a Discord call and any of these people's servers or been added to a Twitter group chat based on the commentary community, then you know that it's like this. So what, Alex? Does this mean that you're manipulating your fans? Because according to your own words, it definitely fucking does. And the best part is that I don't even think that he is scamming or manipulating his fans to buy his somewhat overpriced merch. I think it's perfectly fine to promote your stuff to your audience, even if some of them are probably pretty young. But what I do have a problem with is you being a massive fucking hypocrite about it. This actually leads into my next point with this topic, which is that he treats everything with the same levity and tone, as in things that are completely morally disgusting and things that are just trivial and stupid are equivalent. One of my good pals, Willie Mac Show, made a great video discussing the topic, and he also, well, he shouted me out, so that makes it better. But the basic argument is that there needs to be some perspective in this community, and with people like Alex in particular. I mean, just look at these two clips, where he treats child abuse and lion maker taking advantage of a girl to form a sexual relationship and making an advent calendar that costs a bit too much money with the same weight.
I do not expect Zoella to be the perfect human being, and I do not expect Alfie Days to produce any form of entertaining content. I don't expect them to not take advantage of their fans. I do not expect them to care for what they're producing. But I expect them to not pretend that they're somebody that they are not. Now this is the Lion Maker situation. He said that he could not morally decide whether being a 10-year older person to a 16-year-old was morally wrong.
What the hell is wrong with you? Never mind the same tone, he seems much more aggressive towards Zoella, who made an overpriced advent calendar, than when he is explaining how a pedophile couldn't answer as to his opinion on dating children. Why can't you just take the piss out of Zoella and make fun of her instead of treating her as if she is this terrible, money-hungry spider of a woman, catching her fans in her web and convincing them to buy her shit? Now, to a certain extent, you know what? I get it. I really do. People want to see you tear into someone, drop a content cop level bomb, and tell the world what an awful person all of these people are. Expose them for their disgusting, filthy shit. And sometimes that can be done, like with Lion Maker or Daddy05. But you cannot treat all of these things the same. You can get angry, obviously I have no issue with that, but there needs to be some perspective, because when you talk about a wide variety of topics from child abuse to just making a shitty Instagram video that's a little misogynistic, they are not the same. I know you feel the need to ride the trending topic train and be the most aggressive towards people and call them out on their shit, but next time just take a step back and think for a few minutes. Take some time to mull it over. Is it really that bad? Because I personally think that if you do, then maybe next time you call someone out on their shit, you won't end up looking like a complete spastic in the process. There's nothing I love more than a good dose of hypocrisy. It really shows how moronic and truly fucking appalling people can be. When making videos on this website, it's really hard not to contradict yourself at some point, especially when you're criticizing people in videos you make 3 times a week. It can definitely be hard not to slip up from time to time, but that's not an excuse in any respect for being a massive hypocrite, especially when you establish some morals for yourself and then go out and basically break them over your scrawny little knee. A few months ago, Alex made a video discussing Sernando, a YouTuber who has blatantly clickbaited a number of his videos for monetary gain. There is no denying that. Now, Alex repeatedly says that the clickbait he's partaking in is wrong, and that he can be criticized for it, which is just where the two-facing begins. Alex, who frequently clickbaits his videos, is here claiming that this guy is doing wrong, while what he's doing is right. He criticizes someone for clickbaiting when he does it himself. I don't even think I need to point it out at this point.
He has used a school shooting clickbait tactic to use a school shooting documentary as a re-upload to his YouTube channel, and he's managed to get 5 million views.
Alex, you cannot make that distinction. Sure, Sernando had a gun in the thumbnail pointing at a classroom, but you cannot say definitively that this is wrong, and that what you do on a weekly basis is okay to do. You cannot take a moral high ground like this, because you cannot really draw the line anywhere. Is it wrong for you to, I don't know, put Amanda Cerny's butt in the thumbnail? Personally, I don't think so. You can do what you want, and I don't really take an issue with clickbait in general. But you cannot make a moral distinction like this when you frequently clickbait yourself. There really can't be be a point when it is bad, especially for you. Cernando uses a gun in a classroom to get people to click on his video. You use a girl's ass. Both are exploiting people's wants to see something. One tragic and one sexual in nature. But at the end of the day, it's the same basic method. Personally, I don't even agree with this argument. This isn't the only instance of hypocrisy in his videos as well. It's been said many times by him that ads should not be placed on videos about tragedy or very serious topics. Personally, I don't agree with this argument. I think that you should be able to put ads on videos about tragedies and serious topics. Milking it like what Quebblecop did to me is kind of wrong, but in general, I feel that it should be socially acceptable to make money off of discussing a serious topic. But I'm not going to criticize him for it. He can have his own opinion. But what I am going to criticize him for is, once again, having one rule for himself and having one rule for everyone else. On May 13th of last year, Alex posted a video titled, "It's important for you all to know this," where he discussed the importance of mental health. A noble cause for sure. I think discussions about mental health should be discussed frequently. But what do we see here, right on the video? Oh, is that an advertisement? Oh, that doesn't mean, he couldn't have possibly done. He did it, Alex, you complete moron. Do you not see the retardation that you were exhibiting here? And I would show you the video, but after he realized that he screwed up, he took it down. Not because he cares about his integrity, because he couldn't have not realized that he was breaking his own principles when he manually placed the ads on that video before uploading it. Only after he realized, after it had been posted, that his audience isn't completely brain dead and can notice when he's being a dickhead, only then did he remove the video. Wow, Alex, looks like you don't have very much to stand on in terms of that moral high ground you always take. Your horse is no longer high. In fact, its legs are completely gone, reduced to nothing but hypocritical, idiotic stubs. When someone goes out and says that one thing is bad and criticizes people for it constantly and then gets caught doing the same thing, how are you supposed to trust them, especially with such an ethical conundrum as clickbait? Maybe if he made a video specifically saying that his mind had changed in regards to clickbait or anything along those lines, then what he did here would be justifiable, but in this case, it's just really not. Some would say that this is an honest mistake, but I'm at the point where I don't trust Alex and what he has to say in his videos. I think to an extent he is being honest, but he is consistently being a hypocrite, liar, and making the same shit video over and over and over again, putting no thought into anything he is saying, which results in people like me making videos out of all the shit he has pulled, despite him taking the moral high ground in nearly every fucking video. Wow, in retrospect, that was a bit harsh really, but I think it had to be said. His content is so easy to make, so lowbrow, so surface level and cheap, I don't think I will ever grow to like his videos again. Like I've said in my videos before, my goal isn't to convince you of any of this, or make anyone who sees this agree with me. If you still like his videos, I don't think you're less of a person, or stupid or anything like that. The worst I can say is that you have poor taste in YouTube videos to watch, even though taste is subjective. I mean, you can go on enjoying the shit this guy turns out, which is blatantly uncreative, lazy, poorly researched, and hypocritical. Obviously, that's not a problem for me, and frankly, I think if you actually do hate people because they watch a creator who you believe is bad, then you're just a fucking moron. Putting down people for their beliefs is bad, unless they're like, I don't know, a white supremacist or something insane like that. Bad videos, bad mentality with making videos, and even though Alex will say he makes videos that he enjoys making and that is his mentality, okay, that's fine if you still want to think that way and make bad videos 3 times a week, but that's not an excuse for making shit. If your goal is to make shit, and you make shit, it's still shit. No doubt about it. He clearly doesn't care about making good content, which isn't even a subjective opinion at this point. He basically admitted that he was just making shit up and doing bad research, and knowingly made a terrible video anyway. For a time I thought he had fallen from grace because I grew to hate his videos, but upon watching a plethora of his content from different stages in his channel's growth, I'm surprised I ever liked it in the first place. And honestly, I think in many ways he has become worse to me than Kavos, because at least Kavos cares about his videos. At least he puts effort into them, even if I despise what he makes. It is abundantly clear that he cares. Meanwhile, Alex cares less about his content than he does about his greasy head of hair. Alex, you're a nice guy, but your videos are complete dog shit. And for that, I don't see why anyone can respect what you make. You lie, you twist people's words, and you're a total cunt for it. Until next time, Turkey Tom, out.